No, I didn't put the fucking chat. God damn it. Ah, well. It will be fine. We just have to put it up. It's not that big of a deal. Maybe. If it'll let me. There we go. Okay. And get out. Absentia groaned as she rose from the bed. Oh, Benny and Fuzzy Productions, that's a name. I apologize on the webcam. I got a new chair, so yeah, I haven't broken it quite in yet. And get out. Absentia groaned as she rose from the bed, following a message over an intercom. The voice was all too familiar, and made my blood boil at the sound of it. The Overmare. Rainbow Dash. Alright. Okay. Dash is really loud, so I have to kind of lower her voice a little bit. Let's see. We need... Is this it? Yep. I think I... As you... Rainbow Dash spoke Oh. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and do something like this. Rainbow Dash spoke sarcastically. As you all know, our latest group of failures caused our beautiful machine's blades to jam, and the next import of failures will arrive in 2 days. Some pony will have to clean those blades. Bring that back. Some pony will have to clean those blades, and since I know all of you will refuse, the worker will be chosen randomly from our worker database. Holy shit. That's why I'm kind of keeping my distance. Where am I? Database. Also, due to... Pull that back. Also, due to last night's storm, our main power supply was damaged by a lightning strike, causing the security cameras to lose power. Some pony will have to fix that as well. Pull that back. Some pony will have to fix that as well. But be careful not to get electrocuted. As for our spectra handlers, the amount of spectra produced are dropping. Therefore, a meeting will be held to fix that issue. Now, on to choosing the worker to clean the Pegasus device. All of this is going to be in a special effect, so I will definitely play with it in a different editing stage, but for now it's just going to be the way it is. Alright, doesn't look like I peaked, so that's a good thing. That's a peak, dumbass. Okay. Ugh. The way Rainbow Dash... Actually, that voice doesn't really hurt my throat all that much. It's actually just a very simple voice for me. The way Rainbow Dash spoke was unlike anything I had ever heard. It was cold. It was a cold and ruthless tone. It was as if... Pull that back. It was a cold and ruthless tone. It was as if she didn't care at all for her workers, and only cared that Pegasi were being murdered through the Pegasus device. How could Rainbow Dash pull off such a misleading act as a pony who represented loyalty? Pull that back. How could Rainbow Dash pull off such a misleading act as a pony who represented loyalty, defeated evil tyrants, and inspired other Pegasi, when she was really a cold-hearted monster? It blew me away at just how well Rainbow Dash could pull it off. After countless years of being the Overmare in this factory. Pull that back. It blew me away at just how well Rainbow Dash could pull it off. After countless years of being the Overmare in this factory. The intercom static was replaced with Rainbow Dash's voice once more. No. The intercom static was replaced with Rainbow Dash's cold voice once more. The worker... Ay, ay, ah. The intercom static was replaced with Rainbow Dash's cold voice once more. The worker cleaning the Pegasus... Whoa, gotta back up. The worker cleaning the Pegasus device will be 067138. Pull that back. The worker cleaning the Pegasus device will be 067138. Absentia gave me a look of horror. Absentia gave me a look of horror as I... Pull that back. Absentia gave me a look of horror as I raised an eyebrow. What? That's you. That's you. She confirmed. Pull this back. That's you. She confirmed. My heart dropped as I saw the numbers embedded into my name tag on my suit. It was as if Rainbow Dash was taunting me. Pull that back. It was as if Rainbow Dash was taunting me. Why? Why did that have to be my first assignment? Not to mention that I couldn't clean that machine in this heavy suit. My cover would be blown. Damn it! I cussed through my frustration. What do I do, Absentia? Hey, calm down. She started, putting her hooves on my shoulders. First, don't panic. Otherwise you're going to expose yourself to the orchestrators that survey the factory floor. I'll be honest with you, Scoots. There's nothing you can do except obey and watch your back every second you're in that machine. There's only one way in and watch your back every second you're in that machine. There's only one way in and out of that thing. So you'll need to be absolutely careful and just do your best to get the task done ASAP. Why do you keep bothering me, you stupid program? Leave me alone. And watch your back. And I don't know why, but the Absentia voice is a lot more easier on me now. Like, back when I did it for the first time, I struggled big time with holding that, like, higher tone. Like, I just kind of speak through the nose to kind of, you know, control it. I think back then was just because I was starting out. I had to actually pitch it to make it sound like it did. But now I'm so used to, like, doing Twilight, which is a very nasally voice. So I just talk through my nose and just kind of do that. And watch your back every second you're in that machine. There's only one way in and out of that thing. So you'll need to be absolutely careful and just do your best to get the task done ASAP. So you'll need to be So, right here. So, yep. So you'll need to be absolutely careful and just do your best to get the task done ASAP. However, there's one thing needed to be done before you even think of stepping into that machine. So come here. I raised an eyebrow at the comment, answering with an appropriate response. What for? I asked. That mane of yours is just asking to get tangled up. I asked. That mane of yours is just asking to get tangled up in those blades. So I'm going to save you a potentially easy way to die and cut it short enough to where it won't get caught in anything. So I'm going to save you a potentially easy way to die and cut it short enough to where it won't get caught in anything. I've completely rewritten this story, guys. Like, not rewritten it, but made it better. Like, it is completely, like, revamped. Like, it's not just copy-paste. I have actually added chapters. I have made the chapters longer. You know, I've added more dialogue to kind of build, because if you have listened to the original Reborn, you know Absentia and Scootaloo, like, formed this, like, deal, but the character development wasn't there. Like, the way that Scootaloo reacts when things happen, Yeah, Absentia and her need to be closer. So I made it more character driven, like the character development between Absentia and Skulu. I made it more like realistic.
That wasn't a bad suggestion.
Hold that back.
That wasn't a bad.
Let's save just to be absolutely sure. Oh, did I not complete the chapter? Wait, what? Why are we... Oh, I know why. Yes, sure. Just don't want to have to do this all over again. So... And Tsukishima, if you can't tell, I got a new chair because the one that I had was just... It was ready. It has patches in it. It's older than hell. Like, it's passed through at least 3 people. So, yeah, it's done. Not to mention, it's noisy as fucking hell when I'm recording. So, yeah, I need a more... You know, it doesn't take as much space up. It doesn't squeak every time I make just the slightest movement. Not to mention I can also adjust this one to be more in line with the mic when I'm recording as well. So, this is the first recording that I... Not this one, the one that I did just like not even 30 minutes ago.
That wasn't a bad suggestion. It would help with my identity. And Absentia wasn't kidding. And Absentia wasn't kidding about my mane. It was long. And Absentia wasn't kidding about my mane. It was long and unkempt. It was long and unkempt after years of no maintenance. It was long and unkempt after years of no maintenance. Strangely, I had grown in my time in the void as... Strangely, I had grown in my time... Strangely, I had grown in my time in the void as if I'd never stopped living, and that had always taken me aback, seeing most say that when you die, you don't age beyond death. But I had aged and grown into an adult mare, so either ponies were wrong about life after death, or the void had properties to... Or the void had properties to it that were beyond my understanding. Or the void had properties to it that were beyond my understanding. The sound of Absentia impatiently clearing her throat made me come back to reality. No. The sound of Absentia impatiently clearing her throat made me come back to reality, deciding not to question her any further, and walking to where she was.
That's fine. Just something I wasn't sure of.
I planted my flank on the cold floor as she pulled a knife from the drawer next to her small bed that she had outgrown over her years in this place. She lightly lifted and tugged my mane to where it was sturdy enough to cut through with ease, stating only one thing before starting the task. It's not going to be anything pretty, just something good enough to prevent getting caught on anything in that machine, stated Absentia. So, hold still, and don't cry when you see a reflection. So, hold still, and don't cry when you see a reflection. I nodded, doing my best to keep my head still and feeling the blade's edge touch the outer strands of my tangled fleece. With accuracy and gentle care, Absentia applied the first cut, the cold steel cutting through my hair as if it were butter, and after meeting the cold steel cutting through my hair as if it were butter, and after meeting the the cold steel cutting through as if my hair were made of butter, and after meeting the opposite side of my the cold steel cutting through as if my the first cut, the cold steel cutting through as if my hair were made of butter, And after meeting the opposite side of my mane, it was tossed into... Absentia tossed it into a nearby garbage. The weight upon my head... Absentia tossed it into a nearby garbage. The weight upon my head had lowered massively as she worked more toward my neck, cutting it to where it only stood 2 inches off of my neck. As she worked more toward my neck, cutting it to where it only stood 2 inches off of my neck. So, what's your story, Absentia? No. So, what's your story, Absentia? I asked, attempting to make conversation. No. I asked, attempting to make conversation. Nothing important, kid. Nothing important, kid. She answered rather quickly. Pull that back. Nothing important, kid. She answered rather quickly. I didn't accept that. I don't think so. I started. Something tells me that you're different from other workers here. Absentia winced at my words, and with that, I knew my assumption was correct. What? Pull that back. Absentia winced at my words, and with that, I knew my assumption was correct. What makes you say that? For all you know, I could be pulling a ruse and be waiting for the right moment. For all you know, I could be pulling a ruse and be waiting for the right moment. I could be pulling a ruse and be waiting for the right moment to kill you. I could slit your neck right here if I wished. I could be pulling a ruse and be waiting for the right moment to kill you.
That's a nasty plosive. Let's get that out of there. Kill. Yep.
For all you know, I could be pulling a ruse and be waiting for the right moment to kill you. I could slit your neck right here if I wished. I know you won't, because I know very well that you... I know you won't, because I know very well that you could have easily overpowered me last night. I know you won't, because I know very well that you could have easily overpowered me last night. But you held back, hoping I'd just kill and free you from this place. If you were like the others, you would have hoping I'd just kill and free you from this place. If you were like the others, you would have taken me to Rainbow Dash and had me thrown into the Pegasus device. Fucking nose.
Allergy.
Another wince. She hadn't expected me to be so thorough, and that was enough to break through the mask she wore to avoid... And that was enough to break through the mask she wore to avoid looking weak. Oh my god. And that was enough to break through the mask she wore to avoid looking weak in Rainbow Dash's eyes.
Because we all know what happens to weaklings.
And that was enough to break through the mask she wore to avoid looking weak in Rainbow Dash's eyes. I'd managed to break through her true self that existed before the horrors of the Rainbow Factory had corrupted her mind and personality. I'll give you one thing, Scoots. You are excellent at reading ponies. You're right. I did hold back last night in hopes of you breaking my neck or suffocating me to... No. You're right. I did hold back last night in hopes of you You're right. I did hold back last night in hopes of you breaking my neck or suffocating me into the bliss that is death. I've wanted death to greet me ever since I became Rainbow Dash's second in command, having to do things that I could never forgive myself for. I never dreamed of becoming an elite flyer, but my...
Pull that back.
never forgive myself for. I never dreamed of becoming an elite flyer, but my parents forced me to. I was doomed from the moment I signed the document that admitted me into the flight academy. I was never good at flying and wanted to actually become a model for magazines, because where I failed in flying, I made up in beauty. Believe it or not, my mane used to be full of long curls, and I was admired by most Pegasi as a fashion icon. I had caught the eye of a very well-known company in the fashion industry, and had even landed a spot as a model, up until my parents got in the way and ruined it all. I was sent to flight camp before I could even have a chance at my dreams, and as soon as I failed, was taken here to be grinded into Spectra. Hope the bastards are proud now. A pang of anger and sorrow pierced my heart. Absentia's dreams had been taken from her out of selfishness and pride, only to be replaced with assured death. However, the fact that she was alive, where is my line? However, the fact that she was alive...
That was a problem when I was recording today.
However, the fact that she was alive rendered that ending impossible. No. However, the fact that she was alive rendered that ending impossible. However, the fact that she was alive rendered that ending impossible. So that led to my next question. So that led to my next question. What did you have to do to get on Rainbow Dash's good side? Absentia sighed, continuing to cut further up my neck. Things that I regret. When I was admitted with another Pegasi that gave me shit on a daily basis. I was confused and lost, and had no idea what to do or what to think in the darkness of the factory. During the first night, the effects of the factory plagued my mind, and I decided to get some much needed revenge. And I decided to get some much needed revenge. The asshole that had treated me like shit all my... And I decided to get some much needed revenge. So the factory plagued my mind, and I decided to get some much needed revenge. The asshole that had treated me like shit all my years in flight camp was at his most vulnerable. So I took my opportunity and beat him to a pulp. He begged for my forgiveness, but he didn't deserve it. So I killed the ungrateful bastard. Absentia's voice was cold and bitter with a hint of sorrow. Absentia's voice was cold and bitter with a hint of sorrow and grief. The sound of her words made my ears twitch, along with the sound of her blade slicing through my mane. I shivered as Absentia continued her story that I had asked for. After he was dead for sure, I had expected to feel happy or satisfied. I didn't feel like either of those things, and instead felt sad, horrible, and looked at myself as a monster. I had killed one of my own fellow Pegasi, and despite all he had done to me, I felt terrible. If anything, I was no better than Rainbow Dash. I felt terrible. If anything, I was no better than Rainbow Dash. It became clear the next morning when Dash came to the containment room and saw what I had done. Blood was everywhere, and I was covered with it. Dash took it as an opportunity and made me into a factory worker on the spot. Dash took it as an opportunity and made me into a factory worker on the spot. I'll never forget that devilish smile and stare. She had just laughed and applauded me for my actions, and after the fact, had patted me on the head and said only two things. You may be worthless to Alpegasi as a flyer, but it's clear you have used to me
Which one is it?
But it's clear you have used to me in another way. Welcome to the weathery factor, worker.
What the fuck?
Welcome to the weather factory. Welcome to the weather factory, worker.
What is that?
Welcome to the weather factory, worker.
Stop.
Don't even fucking start. Oh, shit. I couldn't believe I was still alive, and I had only been relieved that I had been given another chance. However, not long after, I had wished that Dash had killed me that day. I had been forced to end others' lives over simple mistakes that hadn't even affected the factory or its process in committing murder to produce artificial rainbows.
Rainbows?
I had been
forced. So I guess I just retook the entire line. Right?
Yep. I had been forced to end others' lives over simple mistakes that hadn't even affected the factory or its process in committing murder to produce artificial rainbows. However, that's not what Rainbow Dash thought. No. However, that's not what Dash thought. And had tasked me. However, that's not what Dash thought. And had tasked me with smashing their skulls against the ground until their brains littered the floor. The sounds of their final moments still echo in my mind, and their faces haunt my dreams. I have never lost count of how many I killed, and will never forgive myself for letting my fear and hope for survival result in the gruesome end of 17 ponies that were no different than me. Pink Diamond, Minty Fresh, Stormy Cloud, Windy Trail, Blue Skies, Ember, Lightning Flash, Starry Night, Sunny Day, Dazzle Flash, Shining Star, Snowflake, Rocky Twister, Silverwing, Twinkle Star, Ivy Rain, and Starry Breeze. Their lives all taken in gruesome manners by my own hooves. It wasn't until 7 days. No, 7 days? That would be way short. 7 days. It wasn't until 7 years after the day I killed my worst enemy that I was finally promoted and freed of my role as an executioner to Pegasi who didn't meet Dash's standards.
That's explosive.
Of my role as an executioner to Pegasi who didn't meet Dash's standards. I was beyond relieved, up until I had learned why. And to avoid ending up like him and the filly that had joined him in their escape attempt, I just buried the old me I'd learn to just follow the rules and play along.
How's that for a horror story?
Her story nearly brought tears to my eyes, realizing that if any pony wanted to get on Rainbow Dash's good side, they'd have to do something so morbid that it would cause the pony to become some pony they weren't. Luckily for me, I planned to do it another way, unless an opportunity was given. Unless an opportunity was given, I will kill the bitch. Along with this factory. Along with this factory. How long have you been here? Along with this factory. How long have you been here? I asked. 20 years, kid. She replied. Long enough for me to forget my birth name, become a hollow shell of nothing but pain and trauma, and devoid of any sort of feeling or emotion. Something no pony would ever want to become unless their life depended on it. I could only imagine Absentia's pain. She had been here for 20 years. 20 long years of murders and nightmares. No. 20 long years of murder and nightmares. 20 long years of murder and nightmares. I had been dead for countless years before I was reborn into this living hell. Only this time, things were going to be different. Absentia had finished the haircut to where my mane was only... Absentia had finished the haircut.
Okay, shut that up.
We're going to be different. Absentia had finished the hair...
Okay, I think there's some it's in there as well.
Absentia had finished the haircut to where my mane was only... Absentia had finished the haircut to where my mane was only 2 inches off my neck and head. Absentia had finished the haircut to where my mane was only 2 inches off my neck and head. An easy buzz cut to where I looked just like Absentia. There. Now... There. Now you look like the rest of the workers and are safe from any potential danger while inside that death machine. There. Now you look like the rest of the workers and are safe from any potential danger while inside that death machine, said Absentia. Out of the silence of the room, the intercom erupted once more.
Pull that back.
Out of the silence of the room, the intercom erupted once more with the sound of Rainbow Dash's cold voice. Worker 067138, report to the factory floor, commanded Rainbow Dash. Absentia gave me a look of severity. Best go before she comes looking for you. Absentia gave me a look of severity. Best go before she comes looking for...
Pull this back.
Severity. Best go before she comes looking for you, she stated. Her and her security squad. I nodded my head as I turned to leave up until I was stopped by Absentia. Oh, almost forgot, said Absentia, grabbing something from her nearby makeshift closet that was nothing more than a hole in the wall. You might want to put this on. 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 Absentia tossed a black rubber suit toward me, which I recognized as the same one she wore. I didn't question her and quickly slipped on the flexible rubber suit. It was surprisingly comfortable. It was surprisingly comfortable and fit me perfectly.
Pull it back.
It was surprisingly comfortable and fit me perfectly. Once the uniform was on, Absentia handed me a small button, one that had the label of the weather factory on it. You'll need that, or Dash will be all over you, stated Absentia. I stuck the small button on the suit, feeling a sick feeling come over me. I looked just like one of the factory workers, a fact that I refused to accept, seeing I was only wearing it temporarily. It was the only way I could stay out of Rainbow Dash's sights. Good luck, Scouts. You'll need it. I nodded my head as I turned to exit the room and make my way to the factory floor, but was stopped shortly by Absentia yet again. Hey, kid. Hey. Hey, kid. She called out, to which I turned to look
Back.
Hey, kid. She called out, to which I turned to look back at her. Yeah? Thanks for the chat. I smiled and nodded my head before turning to the door and exiting to the factory.
Okay.
Oh, my arm is fucking asleep. Oh, feels weird. Like I need something to support my wrist. Or not my wrist, my elbow.
Okay. Let's cut all this out. Anyway, the story straight up sucks. There's like... I don't know. I've never seen it, so... Shit. I'm someone who doesn't really watch stuff all that much. Okay, where are we at? We're at like 19 minutes, like 17, so somewhere about right there.
Through the night, Absentia had given me some pointers on how to get to the factory floor.
Let me save real quick.
Through the night, Absentia had given me some pointers on how to get to the factory floor without an elevator, due to her being here for 20 years and gaining access to the places that most of the workers don't know of. Rainbow Dash and Absentia must be close to know of all the secret passageways within the factory. There was secret halls, staircases, and even simple tricks to get past the scanners on the doors. Tricks I needed to know if I planned to survive here. Yeah, that's fine. As I walked across the skywalk, I passed other factory workers, each of them looking at me with looks of curiosity. All of them were orchestrators, due to their outfits being just like mine. Each of them wearing their own share of scars and mains cut just like mine. Absentia wasn't kidding when she said I would look just like and mains cut just like mine. Absentia wasn't kidding when she said I would look just like every...
Okay, stop for a minute. I need to fix this. See if that might work.
Own share of scars and mains cut just like mine. Absentia wasn't kidding when she said I would look just like every factory worker. But even though I looked like the workers, I was far from safe. I was scared to death, because one wrong move is all it would take to earn a one-way trip through the Pegasus device. So I had to be on What happened to my voice right there? Because one wrong move is all it would take to earn a one-way trip through the Pegasus device. So I had to be on alert.
Nope. Need to do something like this. Something like that.
Device. So I had to be on alert at all. So I had to be alert. So I had to be on alert at all times. So I had to be on alert at all times. At the end of the skywalk, I was accompanied by a familiar face. There stood the cyan Pegasus with her rainbow mane and rosy pink eyes. There stood Rainbow Dash, the mare I despised with all. The mare I despised with all of my being.
Hold that back.
The mare I despised with all of my being. She was winged by two other guard ponies, holding two electric spears, meaning I couldn't attack. Not now. My anger rose on the inside as I stood less than 2 feet from her. I rose a hoof to my forehead as she examined me from head to hoof, giving me a look.
Bring that back.
And attack. Not now. My anger rose on the inside as I stood less than 2 feet from her. I rose a hoof to my forehead as she examined me from head to hoof, giving me a look that spoke pure death. A look that spoke pure death. "You're late," stated Rainbow Dash with an annoyed sigh. "I'll let this mishap slip for now, but I expect better manners from now on, worker." The little amounts of sense that I had left were the only thing keeping me from lunging forward, as I swallowed my pride in response. "Yes, ma'am," I spoke, swallowing the small amount of vomit I had in my mouth. God, arm, please. She didn't say anything, only moved.
Hold that back.
She didn't say anything, only moved her head closer to mine, looking at me closely. I noticed a nasty scar just visible on her forehead, which I figured was from the anonymous Pegasus that stated he had left a nasty impression on her head during his escape attempt. Was from the anonymous Pegasus that stated he had left.
Hold that back.
From the anonymous Pegasus that stated he had left a nasty impression on her head during his escape attempt. It had even left a dent in her skull, changing Rainbow Dash's appearance as the once bold Pegasus she used to be, and instead showing her more as the monster she really was.
Pull that back. Hey, Solar, by the way.
Her sudden observation toward me made me feel uncomfortable, and only grew more uncomfortable as she raised her right hoof toward my head. I expected her to do something, but all she did was gently brush her hoof against my mane, watching small bits of loose strands of my freshly cut mane fall to the floor. "Hygiene," she said to me. "Work on it. I won't deal with shedding around my factory." Will do, ma'am," I replied, continuing to hold my breath. "Good. Now, let me show you to your station," she said, turning from me and placing her hoof against the scanner of the elevator. I followed her as the elevator doors slid open, and I, along with the rest of the party of murderous Pegasi, entered the small space. The entire time I stood in the elevator, I had to hold back the urge to attack, but I knew what the outcome would be if I attacked. If I was going to get Rainbow Dash, I had to wait until she wasn't guarded. I had to play my cards right, and right now was not the time to play the ace. I just have to wait and stay out of trouble. If only it were that easy. If only it were that easy. The elevator came to a... If only it were that easy. The elevator came to a stop on the factory floor, where I could see the Pegasus device in full light of the fluorescent lights that hung from the rafters. The giant grinding machine was silent, and I was about to enter its blades. My heart skipped a beat.
Pull that back.
My heart skipped a beat as Rainbow Dash approached the bottom of the machine. A small slot leading to the inside of the device, open, and a long hose off to the side of the opening. Your job is simple. No, your job is simple. Open and long hose.
Hopefully that doesn't cut off anything.
The inside of the device, open, and a long hose off to the side of the opening.
Pull that back.
Device, open, and a long hose off to the side of the opening. Your job is simple. No, your job is simple, said Rainbow Dash. Your job is simple, said Rainbow Dash. You just have to use this hose to spray the blades. But not just the bottom blades, all the blades. I want this thing spotless. Not a single speck of remains from the last run better be visible when I check back, worker. Or there will be consequences. Got it? Yes, ma'am, I replied. Good. Now, get to work. No. Good. Now, get to work.
Yeah, that's better.
No. Good. Now, get to work. Good. Now, get to work. She commanded, handing me the hose.
Skyler,
Hmm.
I had to bust that elbow off the... Sorry.
Sorry, guys.
Good. Now, get to work.
Oh, gosh.
She commanded, handing me the hose. Where did I go? Oh, right there. Rainbow Dash turned from me as I held the hose in my hooves. My anger level was at its peak, but I kept myself calm. Now was not the time to strike. I would just have to cooperate for now and stay out of trouble. Water on! Oh god, I have to... Water on! Commanded Rainbow Dash.
Okay, I have to manually get that down because I'm not even at full volume right now. -5. No, that should be probably like a -4.
Water on!
Better. Okay, let's...
commanded Rainbow Dash, as I noticed a worker on the far side of the room turn a water valve, immediately following a high pressure within the hose. Water instantly burst out of the end, nearly causing me to lose my grip, but I somehow managed to hold on. "Remember, not a single speck, worker," stated Rainbow Dash. Hang on. Okay. Stated Rainbow Dash as she walked out of sight. Once she was gone, I immediately turned to the inside of the machine and started to clean the blades. The sharp, elongated daggers were coated with dry blood, chunks of rotting flesh, and some clumps of meat that hadn't cycled through. The bottom section of the machine was coated with bone fragments. No. The bottom section of the machine was coated with bone and teeth fragments, several fur fragments that were a plethora of colors, and bloodstains along the walls of the interior that had been the result of the death of Jesus Christ. And okay. Fragments that were a plethora of colors, and bloodstains along the walls of the interior that had been the result of the deaf device's last meal. The area.
Okay, so I gotta find that.
And bloodstains along the walls of the interior that had been the result of the death device's last meal. The area reeked of the smell of lead and death, nearly causing me to vomit, but I powered through the overwhelming stench somehow, remembering Absentia's words clearly.
Same thing, but yeah.
Remembering Absentia's words clearly. I lost my place. Where did I go? I did my best to just blank out the smell and decided to start with the bottom of the machine, seeing it was easily the most okay. Blank out the smell and decided to start with.
Nope. That ain't gonna work.
Blank out the smell and decided to start with the bottom of the machine, seeing it was easily the most accessible section of the inside for a much thorough clean job. Seeing it was easily the most accessible section of the inside for a much thorough cleaning job. Seeing it was easily the most accessible section of the inside for a much thorough cleaning job.
That's a little bit of a plosive. Oh shit. I forgot. My last thing was a amplify. Equalize.
For a much thorough cleaning job. I aimed the hose at the steel walls and washed away all of the blood that had stained them. It didn't take much effort, the high pressure of the water stream making quick work of the stains as I did a 360 to be sure I got every bit of the crimson litter. After a good 5 minutes, the entire bottom was as clean as it could get, so I moved to the upper section, aiming the water stream at the stained blades above me. aiming the water stream at the stained blades above me.
Pull that back.
Aiming the water stream at the stained blades above me.
Better.
Oh god, don't do that to me.
Okay, okay. I just wanted to be absolutely sure.
Oh, don't do that to me, computer, please. And thank you. Okay, where am I?
Pull that back.
Once again, the high pressure made quick work of the clutter, releasing their hold on the still with just one hit of the raging water. Blades above me.
Okay.
Blades above me. Once again, the high pressure made quick work of the clutter, releasing their hold on the still with just one hit of the raging water. Upon contact, the blades spun as well, making my job easier and faster. I kept the hose aimed at the spinning blades while making sure to wash every inch of the blades as well. While making sure to wash every inch of
Stop. See if that works.
spinning blades while making sure to wash every inch of the blades as well, knowing that Rainbow Dash hadn't been lying about anything she'd said prior to entering the machine.
Pull that out.
Prior to entering the machine. I had to be absolutely sure I got
Oh god, what is that? Looks like I got mad, so.
I had to be absolutely sure I got every inch. God fucking damn it! I had to be absolutely sure I got every inch and groove of the machine. I had to be absolutely sure I got every inch and groove of the massive metallic teeth spotless. Otherwise, I'd become the next meal. Otherwise, I'd become the next meal for the Pegasus device. I just kept repeating those words in my mind as
Was that a plosive?
I just kept repeating those words in my mind as I continued to spray the blades clean of their debris left by whoever had... Jesus Christ. As I continued...
Let's see.
As I continued... repeating those words in my mind as I continued to spray the blades clean of the debris left by whoever had last met their end through the machine. By whoever
Left.
left by whoever to spray the blades clean of the debris left by whoever had last met to spray the blades clean of the debris left by whoever.
Okay, I gotta zoom in on that one. Because I gotta get this right on point.
Left by whoever.
Let's see if this might work. Let's see if that might work.
Clean of the debris left by whoever.
Nope. The debris. So that's where the L starts.
Clean of the debris left. Clean of the debris.
Oh, this is gonna be a pain in the ass to fix.
Debris left by debris. Left by whoever had debris left.
I gotta somehow get that to stop clipping.
Left by who?
Which, how am I gonna do that? Don't ask me.
The debris left. The debris.
Okay, I'm just gonna have to do the little trick. So I'm gonna have to silence this. So I can hear it start to go into the L right there. Let's get that out.
The debris.
Do something like this.
Clean of the debris. It's clean of the debris left by whoever had last met their end through the machine. No. As I continued to spray.
Oh my god, are you serious right now? I just did that, all that for nothing.
As I continued to spray the blades clean of the debris, no. As I continued.
Oh, for fuck's sake, me. Get your line right already.
As I continued to spray the blades clean of the debris left by whoever had last met their end through this machine, up until it became the next meal for the Pegasus device. I just kept repeating those words in my mind as I continued to spray the blades clean of the debris left by whoever had last met their end through this machine, up until something broke my concentration. A deafening roar pierced my eardrums as I lost my grip on the hose, the metal floor beneath me beginning to rumble at the magnitude of a massive earthquake. The metal floor beneath me beginning to rumble at the magnitude of a massive earthquake. The machine had been awoken with me inside of it. My worst fear had become reality. I immediately abandoned my task and turned toward the exit, only to find that it was shut tight and the hose was still spraying out and filling the lower floor of the machine with water at an alarming rate.
That's explosive. That's not what I want. Oh, right.
And the hose was still spraying out and filling the lower floor of the machine with water at an alarming rate. I was trapped. My heart sunk at the realization of the situation as I scrambled to find any solution. The roar of the inside of the machine made it hard to think straight, but I knew I had to act fast. So I pulled my thoughts together amongst the chaos. So I pulled my thoughts together amongst the chaos and formulated my options of escape. I couldn't go up without being grinded to pulp, so waiting for the water to raise me up wasn't an option, and I couldn't open the only escape door because it was locked. My only literal option was to either yell and hope some pony.
Okay, yeah, I remember this now. My only option.
And I couldn't open the only escape door because it was locked.
Pull that back.
Because it was locked. My only literal option was to either yell and hope some pony would hear me from among the sound of the Pegasus device's roaring engine, or I'd have to hope that the hinges of the door were as fragile as glass. The water level was rising quick, so with all of my strength, I took a deep breath and bucked both of my back. All of my strength, I took a deep breath and rising quick, so with all of my rising quick, so with
right there. Disgusting, disgusting, disgusting.
So with all of my strength, I took a deep breath and bucked both of my back hooves against the door, hoping that the hinges would shatter upon contact. As expected, the door remained shut and didn't budge an inch, immediately causing me to enter panic mode.
Okay, I know what comes next. I had to turn down my gain for this one.
Help!
There we go.
Alright, let's see if that works. Oops. Alright. Now that we're not scaring the parents anymore.
Yeah, my parents thought I was actually hurt or something. I'm like, well, then that means that it's convincing. Like I want it to be.
Please just behave, Audacity. Don't make me throw you out the window. I yelled. I yelled. No. I yelled, praying. I yelled, praying for some pony to hear me from among the deafening rumble. Praying for some. I yelled, praying for some pony to hear me from among the deafening rumbling of the machine. For some pony.
That is kind of explosive.
Praying for some pony to hear me from among the deafening rumbling of the machine. As expected, no pony could hear me. And to make matters worse, the water was already to my upper torso. Would you fucking knock it off? The water was already to my upper. The water was already to my upper torso. My time was running out. Oh, I have to yell again. Help! Help! My time was running out. Help! Help!
Let's get that out.
Help! That's definitely convincing enough.
It is convincing.
I continued to buck my hooves against the door.
Wait.
That's definitely convincing enough. I continued to buck my hooves against the door, the water making it hard to exert any sort of force against the door. The water level was at my neck now, and my heart was racing at a rapid pace. The water level was at my neck now, and my heart was racing at a rapid pace. I didn't have any other options except death. I couldn't budge the door, and I couldn't go up. I was dead. I was dead. I had failed again. I was dead. I had failed again. The water was now just past my muzzle as I took my final breath of life and dunked. The water was now just past my muzzle
That's fine.
as I took my final breath of life and dunked myself underneath the water. Underneath the water, I searched for any sort of alternative that could save me as a last-ditch effort, but only one option came to me in the murky water, and I doubted that it would even work. The water pressure from the hose might be enough to force open the door, or was I just wishful thinking now? Seeing my options were not the best, I decided to try it, quickly grabbing the hose from the floor of the machine and aiming the nozzle at the door, praying for my efforts to be rewarded with freedom. However, fate taunted me, and the door remained stiff and strong. I was dead. Despite my efforts, my second chance at life had been cut shorter than my original life in Ponyville. I dropped the hose as my lungs began to collapse. I dropped the hose as my lungs began to collapse from the lack of oxygen. I dropped the hose as my lungs began to collapse from the lack of oxygen in the cold and murky water. In my final moments, the burning sensation in my chest turned into serenity in the dim light of my second grave. My body began to turn numb as I saw my life flash before my eyes for the second time, and in my defeat, I spoke my last humiliating words. Congratulations, Rainbow Dash. You win again. With that final statement, I took my last breath. I took my last breath. With that final statement, I took my last breath. I took my last breath, feeling the cold liquid surround. Feeling the cold liquid surrounding me turn my chest into ice. My sight became blurry and lifeless, falling into a deep darkness, and in a cruel twist of fate, the Pegasus device had killed me once again. Alright, break. Wow, that's a little too noisy. Turn it down just a little. Okay, so like right over here somewhere. Okay, so this is gonna be very faint. Alright, I need to back up a little bit. Come on, kid! Spoke a distant voice. Come on, kid! Spoke a distant voice as my eyes slowly opened. The voice was familiar. A voice I had heard before. I could feel the force against my chest as well, like two rough hooves pressurizing against my upper chest. Come on! Wake up! No. Come on! Wake up! Come on! Wake up! Spoke the voice again. The voice became more clear as I felt a large amount of water escape my lungs and extract from my mouth onto the cold floor. I started to cough massively, coming back to reality.
Oh, there goes gravity.
I was next. Coming back. Coming back to reality. I was next to the Pegasus device. And Absentia was just above me, wearing a face of worry and fear. No. Wearing a face of worry and horror. And Absentia was just above me, wearing a face of worry and fear. Was just above me, wearing a face of worry and horror. Her hooves were wet. Her hooves were wet, as were mine, along with the rest of my body. That's when I remembered what had happened. As I lunged upward. That's when I remembered what had happened. That's when I remembered what had happened as I lunged upward, only to be pushed back down by Absentia. "Hey, easy, kid," she stated. Out of my blurred vision, I struggled to speak, breathless and dumbfounded on what had come to pass. Ugh. What happened? I asked in a weak voice. "You tell me," stated Absentia. "I just saved your life. The door was locked from the outside of the machine." The door was locked from the outside of the machine. My head was groggy as I attempted to stand up. Some pony, trapped me in the machine. It was no accident, but an attempt to kill me. I snapped, continuing to cough. Absentia gave me a look of severity. We both knew who had set it up. "What in Equestria happened here?" Shouted a familiar voice. Rainbow Dash walked toward Absentia and I, her face angry. "I gave you a simple assignment, and what happened? No. I gave you a simple assignment, and what happened? No. I gave you a simple assignment, and what happens? My factory floor ends up flooded." "I gave you a simple assignment, and what happens? My factory floor ends up flooded," she snapped. Absentia objected to...
Hang on.
"I gave you a simple assignment, and what happens? My factory floor ends up flooded."
That needs to be brought down just a tad or two. I'm fine. -3.
"I gave you a simple assignment.
Much better.
And what happens? My factory floor ends up flooded. Flooded," she snapped. Absentia objected to Rainbow Dash's words. Absentia objected to Rainbow Dash's words, seeing it was clear that this objected to Rainbow Dash's words, seeing it was clear that this attempt was set up. "Hold it, Dash," stated Absentia. Some pony deliberately locked her in from the outside in an attempt to drown her.
Can I get that out? Let's see if that might work.
They locked her in from the outside in an attempt to drown her. Some pony deliberately locked her in from...
That sounds more like Rainbow Dash.
Some pony deliberately locked her in from the outside in an attempt to drown her. Some pony deliberately locked her in from the outside in an attempt to drown her. I had to save her, and even performed CPR for 10 minutes before she came back. I had to save her, and even performed CPR for 10 minutes before she came back to life.
Okay. Control R.
I had to save her, and even performed CPR for 10 minutes before she came back to life. Rainbow Dash expressed an angry look. but surprisingly calmed down.
Is this true, worker? No. Is this true, worker?
Rainbow Dash asked.
Is this true, worker?
Rainbow Dash asked me. Catching my breath and continuing to cough, I gave her my best response.
Yes, ma'am. I was locked inside the machine while doing the task I was assigned. The machine started unannounced, and the door was shut from the outside by some pony in an attempt to kill me.
Rainbow Dash sighed as a response, grabbing her radio from her belt.
Security! I want...
Sighed as a response, grabbing her radio from her belt.
Security! I want you to check the footage of all the cameras positioned around the Pegasus device. Apparently, the worker assigned to cleaning it was nearly killed due to some pony intentionally closing the... Apparently, the worker assigned to cleaning it was nearly killed due to some pony intentionally closing the only exit and locking it from the outside.
Okay, just wanted to be absolutely sure that takes the whole thing, rather than partial.
Apparently, the worker assigned to cleaning it was nearly killed due to some pony intentionally closing the only exit and locking it from the outside.
She spoke. A voice came back over the radio. Yes, ma'am, spoke the security guard. Give me around an hour to go through the footage, and I'll get the results back to you as soon as possible.
Copy that. Get to work.
Rainbow Dash replied. Controller.
Copy that. Get to work.
Rainbow Dash replied. After finishing her short conversation with the security... Okay, let's pull that about right there. After finishing her short conversation with the security pony over the not the rainbow. After finishing her short conversation with the security pony over the rainbow radio. After finishing her short conversation with the security pony over the radio. After finishing her short conversation with the security pony over the radio, Rainbow Dash turned to Absentia and I with a strict look.
You two better not be lying, or I'll have both of you disposed,
threatened Rainbow Dash.
This little mishap has cost me valuable time, and now I need to postpone the arrival of the next group of Pegasi.
Her gaze met mine instantly, her magenta eyes glaring at me with murderous intent.
You! Get out of my sight! You better pray to Celestia that the footage proves your claims true. Get out of my sight! No, get out of my sight. Get out of my sight. You better pray to Celestia that the footage proves your claims true.
Her gaze averted to Absentia.
As for you, Absentia, you'll take over this failure's duty. I trust that you can finish this job in time when... I trust that you can finish the job in time... God damn it. I trust that you can finish the job in time and without any sort of issue.
Affirmative, ma'am. Absentia accepted.
Good. Then get on it.
Okay, that good needs to be brought down a lot.
Like I said, I'm not even at full volume right now to prevent my hearing from going bye-bye. See, I'm at -4 right now.
Good.
Better.
Good. Then get on it. Rainbow Dash commanded, to which Absentia followed immediately. Following Absentia's departure, Rainbow Dash turned her gaze. Rainbow Dash turned her gaze back to me. Following Absentia's departure, Rainbow Dash turned her.
Pull that back. Need to fix this over here.
Tia followed. Tia.
Let me, save.
Oh. Tia followed immediately. Following Absentia's departure, Rainbow Dash turned her gaze back to me. She eyed me in a way a predator would stalk its prey, but said nothing. It felt as if a spotlight were, but said nothing. But.
Can I get that out of there? Nope.
But said nothing. It felt as if a spotlight were on me on a stage, but instead of it being on me to present me as the main focus, it felt like tiny daggers were being shot at me, tearing me apart thread by thread. I just tried to remain calm and give no reason for her to suspect me any further.
Pull that back.
I just tried to remain calm and give no reason for her to suspect me any further. And after what felt like eternity, Rainbow Dash finally averted her gaze elsewhere and left without another word. The silence scared the living hell out of me. Whoa. The silence scared the living hell out of me, seeing I had no idea what she was thinking in her head. There was no use in worrying about it now, though, so I did as Rainbow Dash had told me and took off out of sight, unaware of what was to come for the remainder of my first day in the hell known as the Rainbow Factory. Unaware of what was to come for the remainder of my first day in the hell known as the Rainbow Factory. In the hell known as the Rainbow Factory. Of my first day in the hell known as the Rainbow Factory.
Let me let us know.
For the remainder of my first day in the hell known as the Rainbow Factory.
Done. Alright, so it's clean of any mistakes now, so that's goo. Right, get rid of that. Save. And export as MP3. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Shit. Chapter 2. Clean mistake. Clean. Okay, just wait for that to do its thing. Is Atmosphere mentioned in this fiction? I think he's the main boss of the factory. No. I think you're talking about Dr. Atmosphere. Keep in mind, I have never read Pegasus Device because 1, too long, And I do not ever plan to narrate it. It is just too much. Like, if there's a reading of that, I applaud the person that managed to do it, because it is a massive fic. Pegasus device. MLP reading.
And now for the street art.
Plagen
Any
Shikey.
final words, you miserable, worthless whore of a foal? You have beautiful eyes.
You have beautiful eyes.
Get every pony out of this room. Seal it off. Lock it down. No one goes in here unless I say they can.
Like, I've never...
But
And it doesn't sound like he's really giving characters, like, their own voice. And that's the trick with the Rainbow Fact... Or, blah. That's the trick with this one. This freaking fic has so many characters that it is hard to really, like, yeah, it is really, really hard to come up with a voice for every single one. And yeah, the freaking fic is massive. It's like easily over probably 5 hours long. If you were attempt to read it. Okay, do I want to do this chapter? Or how long have I been streaming for? About an hour and a half. Do I really want to do more than one? I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know. I try to take this one step at a time. Speed. Just not overwork myself. So yeah, just to not overwork myself, and you know, because I gotta get this done relatively quickly for Halloween, but I'm not too worried about going too fast for it. So I think it'll be fine. I still got basically 2 months worth. I still have to finish the writing process, but it's not that big of a deal. Because the story's already complete. So I don't need to even worry about coming up with, like, you know, the ending or anything like that. It's just, what am I doing? It's just the, yeah. It's just, I think I hit a writer's block, but I think I know what I'm going to do now, because it kind of plays into the whole idea of something that happens in the story. Like, I'm not going to lie, a lot of the stuff in this fic is very rushed. Like, it just feels like there's a lot of incomplete storylines, especially between, like, Absentia and Skulu. Like, that part was a huge part that needed to be fixed. Because if you're writing a story that's based around, like, characters, you need the, like, relationships between them to seem legit. Let's just get this one first. So, yeah, I'm just at the point where it really matters, because this is the big part. So I have to kind of go slow. I mean, I'm glad I started rewriting it now, because it gives me time. Like, I'm normally a pretty fast writer, but it's also something that you want to take your time with, because it's a redux. So I don't want to repeat mistakes like what I did with Bittersweet Apple Acres. The Bittersweet Apple Acres redux sucks. I should have waited longer, like way longer. What am I doing? Reborn chapter 3. that one. It's just important to take it slow. But yeah, with Reduxes, it's different because you're trying to make something better than the original version was. I did not do that with Bittersweet Apple Acres. I mean, is it better? Yes, it is. But it also could be better. Like, I could literally probably make it way better than that, whatever the hell that thing was. But people like it, so there's no need to really worry. But yeah, I'm gonna call it here because I don't want to overwork myself. So thank you guys for joining me. I'll probably get back to this. It's tomorrow. Tomorrow's Thursday. Maybe tomorrow. I don't know. But we'll see. Anyways, thank you guys for joining me, and happy horse until next time, and take care.